Okay, we also have trouble looms for Tinubu as EFCC invites Fowler, former FIRS boss. Yes, and still on the newspaper headlines today, we've got WAEC 1.3 million pass, 215,000 results seized, plus other WAEC news. Okay, we also have Nigeria's ambassador to Jordan Ugongo dies at 70. And HQ attack, critical information, documents not tampered with, NPA. High points of the new Police Act 2020. We have also 622 killed, 151 kidnapped in Nigeria in October 2020. And here we have this one finally, Oyibo residents in River State flee from city, accused Governor Wike. All right, let's look at the till death do us not part. Couple married for 72 years die same day. What's the news? In what seemed like a myth, but a reality occurred at Abeokuta, Ogun as per Israel Akojede and his wife Mama Esther both died a few hours apart, having lived together in marriage for 72 years. The news agency of Nigeria NAN reports that the demise occurred at Bonago, Obantoko area of Abeokuta, had per Akojede reported dead around 3 a.m. on Friday, October 30th, while his beloved wife died a few hours later, having got the news of her husband's death. Indeed, that's really a strong one. If you ask me, I would say the love there is so strong that they had to die together, like till death do people part. But here, death isn't even separating them; they have to be together till death and even after death, if you ask me. Okay, still on the news going around. Let's see. Like I'm sharing my screen so you could actually see what's going on here. Let's look at the next one, which is okay. The next one here is like West 1.3 million pass and 215,000 results seized, plus other WAEC highlights. Let's have a look at what's happened. Attached are the highlights of the WAEC West African Senior Certificate Exam results released by West African Examination Council on Monday, November 2nd, 2020. The result was released during an address by the head of WAEC Nigeria National Office, Mr. Patrick E. Arega, at the WAEC office in Yaba, Lagos State. All right, let's give you the highlights attached to that news. The examination was simultaneously conducted throughout the 5 member countries, the Gambia, Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone. The examination was also administered to candidates in Benin Republic, Cote d'Ivoire, and Equatorial Guinea, where Nigerian curriculum for senior secondary school is being used. Coordination of examiners and marking of candidate scripts took place at 84 marking centers in Nigeria, with 78,799 examiners participating. No candidate, invigilator, supervisor, WAEC staff, or any examination functionary contracted COVID-19 virus in the examination hall. A total of 1.5 million candidates registered for the examination from 19,129 registered recognized secondary schools in Nigeria. 1.5 candidates sat for the exam. The examination was also conducted in Chibok local government area of Borno State, the first time since the abduction of over 200 schoolgirls in the area by insurgents 6 years ago. 4,280 candidates with varying degrees of special needs were registered for the exam. Out of this number, 230 were visually challenged, 745 had impaired hearing, 2,852 had low vision. 38 were spastic calm mentally challenged, and 58 were physically challenged. 660 were males, while 757,785 were females, representing 50.74% and 49.26% respectively. 1,456,000 6,727 candidates representing 94.69% have their results fully processed and released. 81,718 candidates representing 5.31% have a few of their subjects still being processed due to some errors on the part of the candidates. 1,338,348 candidates representing 86.99% obtained credit and above in a minimum of any 5 subjects with or without English and mathematics. 1,003,668 candidates representing 65.24% obtained credits and above in a minimum of 5 subjects including English and mathematics. 497,139, that is 49.53%, were male candidates, while 506,529, that is 50.47%, were female candidates. The results of 215,149 candidates representing 13.98% of the total number of candidates that sat for the examinations had been withheld in connection with various reported cases of examination malpractice. Results can be assessed online as soon as they are uploaded on the results website, that is at www.waecdirect.org. Okay, so that's it on WAEC. Let's go forward to HQ attack, critical information documents not tampered with, NPA bars. Here we see Ms. Hadiza Bala Usman, Managing Director of Nigerian Ports Authority, NPA, has said that critical information, finance and payment documents of the authority were not tampered with during the fire incident at its headquarters. It seems to be a fire team often these days. Okay, now let's move forward. This week, Bala Usman made this known on Sunday in Lagos when addressing newsmen after an on-the-spot assessment of the damage at the headquarters. The News Agency of Nigeria reports that on October 21st, hoodlums masquerading as EndSARS protesters set part of the annex building of the NPA headquarters and some cars on fire. According to Bala Usman, critical documents and information are not cited in the affected areas and so have not been tampered with. She said that the building, being a critical infrastructure of the federal government in Lagos, was a target during the attacks on facilities. The managing director also spoke on allegations of not having adequate security personnel to man the premises. NPA was attacked on October 20th at Tinkan Island Port by hoodlums. The Commissioner of Police, with the help of the Nigerian Customs, was able to repel the hoodlums. Due to the attack on Tinkan Port, our priority was to secure the port. The Nigerian Army and Navy deployed were at the port. Before, we felt the port was more critical to our economy. Because we felt the port was more critical to our economy. We did not feel the need to deploy them at the headquarters, coupled with the fact that we had mobile police on ground at the premises. On October 21st, we had an attack at the headquarters building in Marina. They disarmed the security people and gained access to the premises where they touched so many places, burned 27 vehicles, and a whole wing of the building was also touched. We were able to get the support of the Nigerian Armed Forces and they were able to apprehend 6 of the hoodlums who are with the Nigerian Navy undergoing interrogation and necessary actions will commence within the necessary judiciary provision, she said. Bala Usman said that the over 300 hoodlums came with knives, daggers, and were attacking security personnel at the building. She said the security personnel were in a weak state and demoralized due to the fact that the policemen were butchered across the state and had to run for their lives. The NPA board said all assets were duly insured as required and the insurers had been invited. She said the organization was going through the process of reclaiming its insurance. The managing director said that they were able to resume all port operation within 24 hours of the attack. She also said that only one of the officers trying to escape had a fracture when he was trying to jump down from the office building to gain access to the next one. The managing director said air conditioners, water dispensers, television, and even small tables and chairs were carted away by the looters. She said that 2 vehicles were stolen, a Hilux and Prado Jeep. Right Now, we cannot determine the value lost until we are able to conclude the insurance so that they can provide the exact value, and an integrity test is ongoing to determine the integrity of the building. Some of the vehicles are new for our operational use and recently approved by the Federal Executive Council. And also, we have lost out on staff buses. We are resilient and committed to ensuring that government gets its value in trade. We are in a difficult position because of the state of our office and equipment, but we will soldier on. That is the Nigerian spirit, she said. Okay, that's on the HQ attack and the critical information being intact. Let's move on to the news of October 2020. Here we have 622 killed, 151 kidnapped in Nigeria in October 2020. A quick glance at the reports. Some 622 persons were killed in October 2020 across Nigeria by armed criminals due to insecurity, says a report released on Sunday by StatiSense, a data tech company with expertise in data analysis, market survey, infographics, training, and research. According to the report, the total deaths tracked in the given month was as a result of insecurity which had bedeviled the country. Out of the 33 states captured in the report, including the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja, Borno State recorded the highest killing with 149 deaths, followed by Katsina State at 108 and Lagos State with 66 killings respectively. The killings in Lagos, it was gathered, included those killed by security operatives during the EndSARS protests at Lekki Toll Gate and other areas in the state. Some states like Bayelsa and Gombe did not record any deaths in the report. Below is a breakdown of the total deaths according to states tracked in October 2020 over insecurity. Borno had 149 deaths, Katsina 108, Lagos 66, Zamfara 28, Delta 27, Kaduna 27, Plateau 23, Edo 22, Oyo 21, Cross River 16, FCT 16, Akwa Ibom 11, Ondo 9, Rivers 9, Kogi 8, Niger 8, Anambra persons were kidnapped in the country in the same given period of time. Some of the kidnapped ended up paying ransom to regain freedom, while some never walked out alive. Well, according to StatiSense, the Katsina State topped the chart with 34 kidnap cases, while FCT, Nasarawa, and Zamfara recorded 27 cases each, respectively. All right, we move forward to another story. We have Oyibo residents in Rivers State flee from city accuse Governor Wike and Nigerian army of premeditated genocide. Let's see the story. Following EndSARS protests in Oyibo local government area of Rivers State and the unfortunate invasion of the city by the Nigerian military, the residents of Oyibo have accused Governor Wike of genocide. Undercover investigation by Lumber News has unmasked some. Many families were in deep tears as they mourned the death of their loved ones killed either by stray bullets or murdered point blank by the rampaging military. Despite the dusk till dawn curfew imposed by the executive governor of the state, Nyesom Wike, the Nigerian army has continued to act contrary to the rule of engagement, beating and shooting them, all in the name of fishing out the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, accused of killing some military officers and snatching an unverified number of AK-47 rifles from them. Some of the residents who spoke with are undercover reporters but doesn't want their names on the prints because of security reasons narrated their ordeal in the hands of the military. Now, this is one of the stories from one of the people. I was heading to a popular area called Trailer Park along Port Harcourt Enugu Expressway, where I usually do my business as a single mother. When I got there, we were rounded up by the military. They ordered all of us to lie down. The women were separated from the men. The military officers who were speaking in Hausa language brought out their koboko and descended on the mothers like animals. Many were crying and bleeding, but it seems the whole cry fell on deaf ears. We were released after torture given to them. As for the men, and they were beaten with all manners of sticks and iron. It was a horrible experience that I don't even pray for my worst enemy to encounter, a victim said. Another account of an eyewitness, this one says, Oga, see, look at this mark on the wall of my house. It was cursed by a stray bullet. Someone in my compound was hit. He almost died because of excess bleeding. There was no means of taking him to the hospital. The roads are under lock and key. Immediately the military sees you from afar, they will open fire on you automatically. I'm wondering if we're in the war zone. In this popular exit called Afam Road, a lot of innocent young men have been murdered, all in the name of searching for IPOB. Wike is committing genocide in Oyibo against his own people. Another victim told the Lumba News undercover reporter. Another victim who escaped being hit by a stray bullet recounted his ordeal. Here we go. As you can see, me being alive today is a miracle. I was sitting in front of my house when a stray bullet landed on my window, shattered the glass and landed in my living room. Thank God nobody was inside when the incident happened. Because of the genocide that is ongoing here, I will be leaving with my entire family back to the village by tomorrow. We don't want to die like fowl. It is now clear to all of us that Governor Wike wants to drink blood. Go to the major roads and see how dead bodies are littered everywhere. Innocent people are being killed under the guise of IPOB. This is just bad, so he said. Moreover, when this reporter contacted the chairman of the local government to react over the unconventional actions of the military officers in the city, he could not pick his calls or respond to text messages sent to him. A close ally of the chairman told this undercover reporter that the hands of the chairman are tied as there is nothing he can do to help the situation at the moment. However, the Commissioner of Police in the state, Moka, has ordered the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra to leave the state as the security agencies will continue to hunt them down. Yeah, that's yet another one on the news today, making rounds on the news. Now, let's go forward and see some more. What do we have? Trouble looms for Tinubu as EFCC invites Fowler, former FIRS chairman, over alleged fraud involving Alpha Beta. You might also want to get details of the story. Let's go with the details. The former governor of Lagos State and national leader of the All People's Progressive Congress, Bola Tinubu, is definitely in trouble as the former chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Services, Babatunde Fowler, has been invited by the EFCC, that is Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, over alleged fraud involving Alpha Beta Consulting, a tax firm believed to be owned by Bola Tinubu. A credible source who doesn't want his name to be mentioned because of the controversial nature of the case told Elumba News that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is presently questioning Babatunde Fowler over the role he played in the alleged fraud. Fowler was invited on Monday morning to answer questions from the anti-graft agency. Recall that the High Court of Lagos State sitting in Ikeja ordered Bola Ahmed Tinubu to appear within 42 days over fraud allegations connected to Alpha Beta, a consulting firm. Mr. Dapo Apara, who was the former chief executive officer of Alpha Beta, in a writ of summons deposed at the court, accused Bola Tinubu, Alpha Beta, and a former state commissioner, Mr. Akin Doherty, of money laundering, fraud, and tax evasion. However, Elumba TV cannot categorically state if the recent invitation of Babatunde Fowler is connected to the case or not. Alright, so these are the stories making round as they are dropping. Remember, we'll be giving it to you real hot. So, what you do? Just simply subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Instagram page, like our Facebook page, and also remember to always visit Elumba News for updates. Every day you get news info here. How do you do it? Just type www.elumba.com and you'll be right there on the site getting all of those news updates as it drops hot. Okay? Let's quickly see another one dropping. Like I told you that we give you the news as it drops every time. Every now and then we have something new just for you. All right, so let's quickly look at the latest that we've got right here. Okay, on that we see that dear Sonny Okposo, your question, which way Nigeria still remains unanswered. Of course, you remember this popular musician then. He had the song Which Way Nigeria, if you can recall. That song did go around, and this question is coming. This one is saying, Dear Sonny Okposo, your question, which way Nigeria still remains unanswered, by Isaac Asabo. Let's take a glance at this article. Ordinarily, with an open letter such as this is sent to anyone, it is often expected that it will be received and acknowledged. Sadly, the person I'm sending this letter to will never give a reply to it. However, I must confess that I was inspired to write this letter on the strength of my belief in African mythology. In African mythology, rather, you may have wondered and asked, are you no more a Christian? Of course I am. However, an adult proverb says, though the lion and the antelope happen to live in the same forest, the antelope still has time to grow up. African mythology has it in traditional religion that life does not end with death, but continues in another realm. In fact, the concept of life and death are not mutually exclusive concepts, and there are no clear dividing lines between them. Human existence is a dynamic process involving the increase or decrease of power or life force, of living and dying, and there are different levels of life and death. Death does not alter or end the life or personality of an individual, but only causes a change in its conditions. This is expressed in the concept of ancestors, people who have died but who continue to live in the minds of people in the community, as they were often remembered for good things they did before their departure to the great beyond. Against the foregoing, I am sending this letter to the late Ozidi music exponent Sonny Okposo. Explanatorily put, the letter is somewhat a progress report on his album titled Which Way Nigeria, which was released in 1983. As inherent in the chorus of the music, the late musician wanted to know which way Nigeria is heading to. He lyrically noted, many years after independence it continues, we still find it hard to start. How long shall we be patient? Still, we reach the promised land. Let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die. I want him to know in his grave that the question he posed to all Nigerians, particularly the leaders, is yet to be answered. I want him to know that the cause he stood for and the injustice and oppression he fought against in Nigeria still persists. On the other hand, since he departed from the earth on May 24th, 2008 in the Washington District of Columbia, USA, Nigerians are still groping in the dark asking which way Nigeria without any reasonable answer. Since the lives of vibrant youths were recently cut short during a peaceful protest at the Lekki toll gate, the question has been on the lips of everyone more than ever before. Dear Evangelist Sonny Okposo, it's me, Isaac Asabo. We may not have met in the land of the living during your seemingly brief earthly sojourn. However, through your song, Which Way Nigeria, I became one of your dyed-in-the-wool fans in my village in 1984. Shortly after the album was released, when I was somewhere in the southern part of Edo State. Upon my immigration to Lagos same year, everything you did, even when you became an evangelist, caught my fancy and gave me every reason to emulate you. I even tried my fingers on guitar, but for the fact that I was a bookworm and I could not share the limited time I had then with my pastime. Recently, a professional colleague wrote, the The title is that of his hit number that chronicled the political woes of Nigeria since its independence from Britain in 1960 and the apparent hopelessness in overcoming many of its problems. As a number of recent events, however, have made citizens of West African countries to ask Okosun's question one more, this time with a sense of urgency. Permit me to say that the inspiration to write this letter to you was necessitated by the need to inform you that Nigeria, 12 years down the line since you departed, that Nigerians are yet to find the way to the promised land. I consider this letter to be befitting to you because of the role you played in ensuring that Nigeria is liberated through the songs of social protest that gave voice to native political movements on the continent. Your works, no doubt, have been influencing a generation of musicians, both in Africa and around the world. Little wonder your songs were described in the New York Times as catchy, rock-inflected cocktail of funk, reggae, Afrobeat, and more. The result was a zestful, funky strand in what has come to be called world music. But alas, since your exit, Nigerians seem years away from being liberated. To put it in a figurative perspective, the economy has been wobbling since while anyone that complains will be killed by government agents, particularly the police. Recently, there was a protest against the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. For the sake of clarity, SARS was a Nigerian police force unit created in late 1992 to deal with crimes associated with robbery, motor vehicle theft, kidnapping, cattle rustling, and firearms. It was part of the Force Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department, FCIID, headed by Deputy Inspector General of Police Anthony Ogbizi. According to the popular online encyclopedia Wikipedia, SARS was controversial for its link to extrajudicial killings, forced disappearances, extortion, torture, framing, blackmail, kidnapping, illegal organ trade, armed robbery, home invasion, rape of men and women, child arrest, the invasion of privacy and polluting bodies of water by illegally disposing of human remains. After widespread protests in Nigeria and worldwide under the motto End SARS, the unit was disbanded on 11 October 2020. Inspector General of Police M.A. Adamu said that a new unit, the Special Weapons and Tactics SWAT, would replace the SARS. He said that SARS personnel would report to the police headquarters for the briefing and examination. Within hours of the announcement, some Nigerians took to Twitter with the hashtag #EndSWAT, and this demonstration continued amid fears that police reforms would not materialize. The foregoing is a bird's-eye view of what Nigerians have been facing since you departed from this world in the hand of pharaoh-hearted leaders. As you read this, not few Nigerians are missing you. Many words have been written and spoken in your honor, particularly for dedicating a greater part of your musical career to popularize liberation music well ahead of any African musician. Echoes of your earthly journey have severely been recaptured by both New York Times and UK's independent newspapers in their respective editorial. In one of the reminiscences, you were quoted to have said that all my mates were singing love song. I was trying to talk about what was happening to black people. I do not need to say much on the role you played throughout your lifetime in the fight against oppression of the poor and the quest for Nigeria to move forward. But alas, Uncle Sonny, I must confess that my heart bled and my eyes became misty when I saw your photo that portrayed you as a very sick person, as very sick when I was searching for the background materials to write this letter to you. I was emotionally moved. More so, it appeared your singular efforts toward the liberation of Nigerians from the gulliage of bad leadership seems not to have been heeded to. Thank you for your struggle against bad leadership in Nigeria, even at the risk of being killed by the very people who your music for the umpteenth time pricked their collective conscience. It is not an exaggeration to say that you deserve to be thanked for using liberation music, which was unarguably focused against bad leadership and oppression, Once again, I say thank you. Till we meet to part no more. Have an eternal rest. That's an article from Isaac Sonny Okposo with the title, Dear Sonny Okosun, your question, which way Nigeria still remains unanswered. All right, that's another story. Let's quickly look at this one. Ohana is a presidential race. 9 more Igbo groups back Oswago. Okay, I quickly want to see a post here of foreigners. That's the U.S. police coming to rescue one of its own right here in Nigeria. Okay, let's look at it. U.S. Special Operation Force rescue. U.S. Special Operation Forces rescue American hostage in Nigeria. Now the question will be, doesn't Nigeria have the military, or is Nigeria's military not competent enough to rescue a kidnapped victim? Well, we wouldn't know. Those are questions that we'll never be able to answer, but here's the report. On October 31st, 2020, the U.S. State Department confirmed that an American who had been taken hostage in Niger was rescued by U.S. Special Forces in Nigeria. As reported by New York Times Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Eric Smith, the kidnapped victim, Mr. Walton, was held for a $1 million ransom almost a week ago, a practice that has become all too familiar in the region. As poverty, insecurity, and desperation continue to define daily existence in the region bordering Niger and northern Nigeria, the governments of Nigeria and Niger have once again demonstrated their inability to protect their citizens and foreigners alike. But this sad reality on ground masks a equally sad fact that millions of dollars and human resources have been allocated over the past years to bring the region under a semblance of normalcy. The lack of visible progress in the region can no longer be ascribed to incompetence and inefficient deployment of financial and human resources. It is now a clear case of criminal negligence and deadly apathy by both civilian and military policy makers in both countries. The French and Americans have, for all intents and purposes, left the region. This should not come as a surprise, for despite their combined efforts to assist Niger and Nigerian military regain control of the region from militants, the African forces have shown no evident desire or requisite skills set to profitably take advantage of years of assistance. Thus, the condition worsens. Insecurity, poverty, death of innocent citizens continue unabated. And this has become the norm of the natives, but it should not be. Eric Smith of New York Times provided this account of the raid. Washington U.S. Special Operations Commandos carried out a pre-dawn raid on Saturday to rescue an American citizen who had been kidnapped this week from his home in southern Niger. Commandos from the Navy's Elite SEAL Team 6 rescued the American Philip Walton, 27, after tracking the phones of his attackers to a hideout in neighboring northern Nigeria. U.S. officials said U.S. forces conducted a hostage rescue operation during the early hours of 31st October in northern Nigeria to recover an American citizen held hostage by a group of armed men. Jonathan Hoffman, the chief Pentagon spokesman, said in a statement on Saturday. Mr. Hoffman, who did not identify Mr. Walton by name, said he is safe and is now in the care of the U.S. Department of State. Another official said that Mr. Walton had been taken to an American airbase in Niamey, Niger's capital, to reunite with his family. Mr. Hoffman said no American military personnel were injured during the operation, which required President Trump's approval. Several of the captors were killed in the raid, U.S. officials said. Mr. Walton, the son of missionaries, lives with his wife and young daughter on a farm near Masalata, a small village close to the border with Nigeria. American and Nigerian officials had said that Mr. Walton was seized from his backyard on Monday in front of family members after assailants asked him for money. He offered them $40 and was then taken away by the armed gunmen on motorbikes, the officials said. The captors demanded nearly $1 million in ransom for Mr. Walton's release. One American official said the assailants were criminals who intended to sell Mr. Walton to a terrorist group in the region. The operation was organized quickly with the assistance of officials in Niger and Nigeria, the official said. According to U.S. officials, the rescue started just after midnight local time early Saturday when about 30 Navy commandos parachuted into the remote area where the kidnappers had taken Mr. Walton. Members of the rescue team hiked about 3 miles until they came upon the captors' small encampments in a copse of scrubland, bushes, and trees. In the brief but intense firefight that ensued, and with surveillance drones buzzing ahead, all but one of the half-dozen or so kidnappers were killed. One captor escaped into the night. Mr. Walton was not harmed in the gun battle, and he walked out to a makeshift landing zone, where a U.S. helicopter whisked him to safety. Several Westerners are currently hostage in the region. They include the American aid worker Jeffrey Woodke, who was kidnapped in the central Nigerian town of Abalak in October 2016 and is believed to have been taken to neighboring Mali. Mr. Walton kidnapping was just the latest spate of violence in Africa's Sahel region, which has experienced a growing torrent of attacks by Islamic State and Al-Qaeda affiliates, especially in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. 6 French aid workers and their Nigerian guide were killed by Islamic extremists in August while visiting a wildlife park near Niamey. An ambush in October 2017 near Niger's border with Mali left 4 American soldiers dead. Eric Smith is a senior writer who has traveled the world covering terrorism and national security. He was also the Pentagon correspondent, a member of the Times staff since 1983. He has shared 3 Pulitzer Prizes, courtesy of New York Times. Okay, that's it on our paper headlines today, and we just looked at what's making news, what's trending. Remember to follow Elumba Television on Instagram, like our Facebook page, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you'll be the first to get all of this information as it comes. Yes, Elumba TV is always on the go with news. We look out for what's happening where. Doesn't matter. Just be rest assured that we'll give you the news as it drops. Wherever the news breaks, Elumba TV breaks in. Okay, my name still is Angel Lady. Until I come your way again, I'm saying you stay safe, stay security conscious, and relax. Bye now.